and does anybody remember what happened last time?
There was a firefight. That much I remember.
Mm-hmm.
There was
I did some stupid shit at the end.
We did a B&B.
Yep, both of you are right. Jason tried to throat punch a cop and got shut down real quickly on that plan of action. And yeah, you guys booked a space B&B with an anthropomorphic cat lady. So we're picking out a few of the events that happened, though I wouldn't say a particularly cognizant timeline.
So the firefight, we weren't really even a part of it. We were just caught in the crossfire between two gangs.
Mm-hmm.
And the one gang won by like a lot. The other gang just got blown away.
Yeah,
but I forget their names.
Mostly because Wayne's character, Wreckage, and his robot Sparky just absolutely decimated one of the gangs. So that was a large reason why it tipped in their favor.
And that, I believe, happened right when we arrived at the station.
Yep.
And the dwarf we were supposed to meet got caught in the crossfire and died.
Yep, Dwarvor Creel, your contact with the Starfinder Society, who was going to be your in with Eco Protection Cell, who you were planning on joining up with, was unfortunately killed in the altercation. Do you guys remember much about your characters, their backstories, their motivation?
I remember I'm the special brownies sort of den mom.
Yep.
Rebecca, what's your character's name?
Kima.
Kima, Wreckage, and Braun Stronghammer.
Yep. So yeah, let's do a quick recap of what's going on. The three of you are all confirmed eco-terrorists who actually had recently been in a bit of a botched job and were having to lay low while things blew over. And after that had happened, you guys all met up on your way to Absalom Station, where you had managed to get in contact with a group who was sympathetic to your causes inside the Starfinder Society. And you were supposed to meet with one Braun Stronghammer, who would make introductions and set you up.
Me.
All right. Dorvor Creel. All you dwarves look the same. I can't tell the difference.
I remember that name. And that was about it. Dwarvor Creel.
My bad. Thank you, Jason. Dwarvor Creel was your contact who was supposed to make introductions and set you on your way with joining up in the Starfinder Society. And you guys, almost immediately after setting foot on the station, a firefight broke out between two groups of disreputable-looking individuals. Unfortunately, Braun was caught... Not Braun, Dwarvor. Dwarvor was caught in the crossfire and did not survive the incident, though you guys were able to do so. And afterward, while Kima and Wreckage had swiped Dwarvor's personal computing device, or PCD, off of his person and exited the scene, Braun Stronghammer had decided to stick around and see if he couldn't loot a few bodies and see what he could find, and actually was able to pick up a few things off of one of the dead combatants before the police arrived and cordoned off the area. So Dwarvor, why am I getting your names backwards consistently? Braun was questioned by the police and honestly got more information out of them than they got out of him. Though they were the surveillance copies that they had of the area did make it fairly clear what had gone down. They just needed to confirm a few details. But it seems that the two groups were the Downside Kings and the Level 21 crew. The Downside Kings were the ones who got completely shut down by Wreckage and Sparky. And they seem to be the more scummy and dangerous of the two groups. And as best you could tell, they seemed to be the ones who fired first. But of course, who knows? George Lucas may have come in here and edited our footage, so could be anything. But
yeah, you made a Star Wars reference. That's like a miracle or something.
Not really. So after having gotten away from the police and returned to join his friends, Braun Stronghammer joined Kima and Wreckage at a bar, where they made some very brief plans of what to do next, and Kima went off to find them some housing while they continued to figure out what to do about the death of their contact. They also discovered on Dwarvor's PCD that he was going to introduce them to a certain Starfinder member called Chiskisk, a I forget the name of the race. I'll look that up in just a second. But yeah, he was going to introduce them to Chiskisk, who was their actual contact in the eco cell inside of the Starfinders, while Dwarvor was merely the go-between. And you had... Don't think you'd gone to see him. Okay, pretty sure you didn't. If you did, then we'll just ignore that, but I'm almost certain you didn't. It's a little hard to keep track of exactly what you have and haven't done since we rebooted the game, and so this is like the second time through it. But anyway, you guys, Kima then went off to secure housing until you were ready to make your next move. And Braun decided to go up to the bar and order their strongest drink, which turned out to be some sort of ridiculous space moonshine that very nearly killed him, since he decided to drink, 4 people's worth, but luckily his dwarvish stomach was able to handle it, and he was merely made incredibly drunk, embarrassing poor Wreckage, who was left to more or less babysit his inebriated adoptive father. And then you guys went back and met up at your space B&B. Meanwhile, Kima had also gone down to level 21 and done a little bit of reconnaissance just to check out the flavor of the area and see what was going on there. And then we left off right as all 3 of you had reconvened at your space B&B and were about to eat dinner, which was prepared by your hostess, this lady. And it was
Fangirl screaming, ah!
Yep. And it was an enormous feast of large loaves of bread and potato gratin and a thick meaty stew and other various dishes spread across the table. So let's go ahead and pick up from there. So your hostess, whose name you actually haven't bothered to ask yet, has invited you all in. Braun, just having finished chugged a hangover curative that was left in his room, is staggering out, feeling slightly better after having a bit of a nap and um, something in his stomach other than alcohol. And you guys are all sitting there. Wreckage, what are you and Sparky up to?
Is my adopted father still out? Like, not like.
He's currently stumbling in.
Oh, okay.
That's me, right?
Yes, that is you.
Father! No.
I mean, I would assume you're.
I run
I would assume you're probably just
up
sitting
and
there.
catch him before. Oh, what I'm doing when he arrives?
Yeah,
Because
I mean,
I was just gonna run up and catch him now,
I
because
mean,
he's
he's
probably about
not.
to fall over.
Maybe, probably not though.
How inebriated are you?
Mostly not. He's
Oh.
had time to
Slept it
sleep it
off.
off, and he's had a hangover
Oh.
cure.
Well, for some reason, I was thinking he just came back from drinking. Okay.
No, you
Got it.
brought him back from drinking ages ago. You've already scrubbed his puke off of poor Sparky, who was carrying him, and Braun puked all over him.
Okay. I'm fixing the biscuit machine.
You have found her
That
biscuit
somehow
machine.
got damaged.
Okay, I don't know how it got damaged, but I'm sure that your hostess is very grateful.
I knocked it over when I got back.
There you go. You're just like stumbling around and knocked it off a counter. Sounds good. Kima, you actually have also just arrived back at the Space B&B. In fact, it was the sound of your entry that woke him.
Yes, I am taking my shoes off. They're like really cool, like thigh-high black boots that take like 4 hours to unlace and take off.
Nice. But this is the space future, so as we know from Back to the Future, self-lacing shoes are a thing now. So, you
Yes.
just kind of poke your shoes in the right way, and they just unlace themselves immediately.
Awesome. But that's what I'm working on, is taking those off and putting them away, because I'm polite and I don't want to attract space mud on her space floor.
All right. So Tabitha says, please do sit down, get comfortable, dig in. I hope I made enough for everybody.
Oh, yum, thank you. I'm so hungry I could eat a horse.
Well, most of the meats here are synthetic. Actual meats are a bit expensive up on the station these days, but they do come in occasionally from the various worlds that we trade with. And she points to the stew. This one is actually made with actual beef from one of the planets whose names I'm forgetting. I need to get the map, but you get the idea.
Eee.
Wow, you really went all out for us. It's much appreciated.
Oh, it's not a problem at all. After my children left the nest, I haven't had as much of a case to cook as I used to, and it's honestly something that I've missed quite a bit. It's one of the reasons I started up the Space B&B, was, just a chance to meet new people and cook for them and all that. What brings you to the station? You're a rather interesting group.
Oh, just saving planets.
Nice. That is quite the mission.
That
Yeah?
and getting paid for it.
Ah, so you're mercenaries or corporate agents?
Something like that.
Interesting. Have you had a chance to see much of the station yet?
Well, I saw some of it, but I don't quite remember.
Yeah, you were in quite a state when you arrived. Hopefully, what I left you is helping a little bit.
I think Kima got to take a look around.
I did. I did a bit of scouting out and just trying to get a lay of the land, but I'm sure there's a lot more to see than I had time.
Oh, yes, indeed. The station is huge and has many different sectors and interesting places and people to visit. If you decide to do a little sightseeing and want some suggestions, I've lived here for most of my life and could point you in a few directions.
That would be much appreciated, actually.
All right. Well, one place you definitely should try to see before you leave is the puddles. It's the aquatic sector. For the different aquatic species who come to the station, little interesting to navigate for us air breathers, considering we have to make our way around kind of the tunnels and access ways that go around it. But it's always worth a view. It's definitely beautiful. And then, of course, there's the dome. It's one of the more crowded and corporate areas, but it's one of the few places where you can actually almost get out as if you were outside of the station, given the huge dome around the area that keeps the atmosphere trapped inside. And there's plenty of parks and some truly beautiful corporate buildings there and whatnot. You could visit the headquarters of Disney. They've got quite an impressive building and their own theme park up there. I believe the Starfinders also are situated up in the dome, if you have a chance to visit that. If you're looking for shopping, you're definitely better off going toward the outskirts of the station, kind of over nearer to the docks. That's where the majority of trade takes place.
Those are all great suggestions. I say we
I have a
check out
couple
the
of
dome.
questions.
Mm-hmm.
So my questions are, in the aquatic zone, are swimsuits required, and where do you go to the bathroom?
Well, generally, it depends on the species and how their anatomy is set up, whether their culture kind of requires restrooms or not. Sometimes there are specific areas for that are filtered and kept clean. And as for swimsuits required, yay or nay, it also depends on where you are and whatnot, and your species' own proclivities. But you can more or less assume that that is going to be similar to what you would have if you were just walking around up here.
So I can't go skinny dipping, and I can't just go wherever I want?
Yeah, depends on where you are. There are definitely areas in the puddles where if that's what you're into, it would be possible. But there are also certain areas of the puddles where something your size would be breakfast. So I would be a bit
Yeah,
cautious.
let's change the subject. So what can you tell us about the Starfinder Society? Oh wait, we already know about them,
Yes, you
wouldn't
do.
we? Because they're famous. They're famous.
But she wouldn't be able to tell you anything that you guys don't already know. But the Starfinders are a society of knowledge seekers whose mission is to find information and knowledge on very disparate topics and disseminate it to the world. So you can think of them as being similar to like if a university was largely made up of Indiana Jones types, that would be what the Starfinder Society is.
I think I used to compare them to
So they're
Starfleet.
so as long as if we want to take him down, we just have to get a bunch of snakes.
Maybe. So Indiana Jones did escape from the snakes, so I feel like that probably wouldn't be terribly effective.
Darn it.
We don't want to take down the Starfinders. We want to take down Disney.
This is also true.
Yep.
But I didn't say that out loud because we don't want anyone knowing that.
Yep. So yeah, the meal kind of progresses. Do you discuss it all amongst yourselves, kind of what you're planning on doing next?
So
You,
I'm thinking we go to the dome because we got Starfinders and we got Disney in the same place. That seems like a good place as any to start.
I like your attitude. Let's do it.
Unless, wait, so Kima, where did you go explore? What do you know?
Yeah, what haven't you told us?
I think I think I went down to level 21 and did a bit of exploring and some digging up about the level 21 crew and what they're all
mm-hmm. Yep, kind of got a little bit of the local flavor and saw what things were like, and definitely one of the more economically downtrodden areas, but you were surprised given how poor the area was. It was actually relatively well maintained and orderly compared to some of the nearby levels, which, though not having any obvious reason, were actually more dangerous and less pleasant to be in.
Yeah, that.
Interesting. I wonder why they were fighting. I think we got to stick to our mission and go check out the Starfinder and Disney headquarters.
I agree.
Okay. So the meal kind of goes on, and probably 15, 20 minutes after you guys get started, um, you actually hear someone coming out from the areas further toward the back of the house, which you had noticed there are quite a few rooms. It seems that your hostess had quite a few children at one point or another to have required so many different living spaces, making her house actually very well suited to being a little bit of a bed and breakfast. And coming out from the back, you see a Lashunton, or not Lashunton? I'm sorry, it's been way too long. I'm already forgetting like the names of all the species. Let me look this one up real quick. No, she's an elf, not a Lashunta. You see an elf coming out from the back. She's kind of a little bit on the taller side, relatively petite. Um, so kind of light bluish hair and piercing eyes, and of course the pointed ears of her race. And she's kind of come out. She's dressed in loose fitting pajamas. And is still yawning, the back of her hand over her mouth. Um, and in her other hand, she's carrying a large book, and walking behind her, a little bit more surprisingly, is actually a large combat droid.
Bum bum bum.
You can see here. Um, and she comes out and plops down at the table and actually doesn't even seem to notice you. And opens up her book and starts reading as if nothing were out of the ordinary.
So I'm going to turn to our hostess. Excuse me, I know your username, but I don't know if we got your proper name. What would you like us to call you by anyway?
Oh, yeah, of course. I can't believe I forgot to introduce myself. My name's Tabitha.
Oh, Tabitha, that's a beautiful name. I was noticing all of the rooms and you were talking about missing your children. I was just curious, how many children did you have?
Oh, I had 17, in fact. One of my youngest was
My word, you've been industrious, haven't you?
that's coming from a rat folk.
A rat said 17 was a lot.
Yeah.
I couldn't resist it. I'm sorry.
What's your species? Is Yosoki? Is that what it was? Yeah, Isoki. And that would be a fairly small family for an Isoki.
Yeah. Just didn't think about it before I used the quote from The Hobbit.
Ba ba ba. Anyway, yeah.
Speaking of the Hobbit, in the Starfinder universe, do dwarves and elves get along?
Uh, I mean, they're not like openly hostile, but they do have like fairly significant cultural barriers.
But they don't just despise each other on sight.
I mean, not unless you want to be a really racist dwarf.
Okay.
Because I'm sure there are some dwarves who do despise elves on sight.
Yeah, but not Braun.
um, but yeah,
I adopted a rat.
yeah,
Not
yeah,
that
you did.
racist.
I'm not racist. Some of my best friends are rats. But yeah, I had 17. My youngest, little Tom, was quite the mischief maker. He moved out 3-4 years ago. Most of them have gone to other planets off the station looking for different job opportunities.
I see. I was definitely getting very strong mom vibes from you, so I'm sure you were a wonderful.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And having guests like you is a way for me to continue that and give me something to do. So, always happy when I have visitors like you.
Oh.
So the elf, without having taken her eyes off of the book at all, has actually grabbed some food and started eating it while her security droid is not eyeing you exactly, but you can tell that it's definitely uh, keeping watch on what's going on, but is otherwise not taking any actions. Um, So do any of you try to address her, or are you just going to kind of leave her be as you finish the meal?
I'm probably going to leave her be as I finish the meal.
I
Okay.
don't know, she just looks so preoccupied. I feel bad interrupting her.
That's fine. So yeah, you guys wrap up the meal with some light conversation, and of course, Tabitha tries to encourage you all to eat even more because you guys have not even finished half of what was there, but your stomachs groan in protest. And I would imagine all of you excuse yourselves.
Thank you very much for your hospitality. We should be going now.
Yes, it was an extremely wonderful meal, and we can't thank you enough. But yeah, I am so full.
All right. The elf actually had kind of taken off a few minutes ago, before you guys all wrapped up. So where are you guys headed next?
The dome.
The dome. All right. Nobody plans on sleeping.
Didn't we
I
just
mean,
sleep?
that kind of was our dinner meal. Well, you just had a nap because you had a
Ron did,
hangover.
yeah. But no, it's getting fairly late at this point. You finish dinner. You still would have it's the equivalent of being about 7:30. Though of course it's not exactly that time because this is space.
I guess it is probably better to start our investigation in the morning.
Yeah.
Oh no, I won't be up for it.
Go to bed, Wreckage. Go to bed.
I don't think Wreckage is going to bed. I think he's gonna go sit in his room and play Space Nards the game for until like 2 o'clock in the morning and then go to bed. But yeah, okay. So you guys.
I just feel I feel I'm fine. Mom.
All right. So you
Yeah.
guys kind of start making your way back to your rooms. And go through whatever your evening kind of rituals are to get settled in. Kima, as you're headed back out to use the restroom before turning in, you actually round a corner and find yourself bumping into the elf from dinner. She seems to be, or actually, go ahead and give me a reflex check.
That was not ideal.
All right. So you are caught off guard just as much as she is. And both of you kind of fall backwards onto the floor, dropping whatever things you were holding. She was still holding that. Your what?
Pot.
Oh. I don't know why you were holding pot, but okay.
No, I was just being silly. I didn't mean I actually said.
Yeah. And so she lets out kind of a surprised squeak as she hits the floor. Um, and then looking up and finally seeing you, she kind of brushes her hair out of her face and says, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't see you there. I'm not always the most observant. Here, let me help." And she tries to help pick up whatever things you were carrying.
Probably just like a toothbrush or something.
Okay.
But thanks. I guess I wasn't really paying attention either.
Sorry
My
about.
name's Kima, by.
Oh, hi Kima. My name is Lynn Dragonsong. I'm sorry about that again. Hopefully, I'll see you around the halls again, and not quite this way next time.
Hopefully we will see each other. It was a jolt getting to know you.
uh, uh, if you don't mind me asking, what are you guys? What are you guys? What brought you to the station? You don't look like you're from around here, she says, kind of assessing your clothing.
Oh, we came on business. We were supposed to meet someone, got caught in a firefight, and well,
Oh, wow.
hang on, let me think. I don't know. We'll go to his boss man, but I can't think straight tonight. So whatever.
Oh, that's quite the introduction to the station. Thankfully, I haven't seen too much action, though there definitely are some strange goings on. Have you heard about the ship that came out of deep space?
Well,
Complete.
I have to admit, I'm not too much of one to actually stay up on news, but it sounds interesting.
Yeah, it's been all over the place. There seems to have been a ship called the hippocampus. And it came out of deep space. But when the station security tried to contact them, they didn't get a response. And after scans, it seems the entire crew is missing or dead. And strangest thing is that they were towing an asteroid behind them, a drift rock that they pulled out of drift space when they were coming here, and nobody knows what's on it. But they've quarantined the ship in a quarantine orbit until they can figure out what's going on and hopefully resolve it without anything coming off of it and getting onto the station. I guess there's also this big corporate battle going on. The group that sent the ship, the Scrabble collective group, something like that. I forget. And I, out of character, I do know what it is. This is her not remembering for once. Anyway, but yeah, they seem to claim the rights over the Drift Rock, while the company that sent them out on their exploratory mission that they were returning from, Disney, seems to claim rights to it. So they're at a bit of a standoff right now. I'm actually,
Wow, that is unusual.
yeah, I'm actually kind of hoping to maybe get aboard the ship. There seems to be some interest on what's going on there from the Starfinders, and I think this might be my in to the Starfinders. I've been trying to join them, but I need to prove my worth first. But anyway, sorry
So,
to
what
have.
is it that you studied?
Oh, I'm actually a xenobiologist. I study alien cultures and people groups and
Very nice.
languages. Yes, it was always my dream ever since I was little to get off planet and go and explore the bigger universe. And well, this seems to be my one way toward it. But anyway, sorry to have bored you with my entire life story. I'll let you get back to the bathroom.
Not a bore at all. Always very interesting, and I probably should go brush my teeth though. So
Yes.
I'll see you.
All right. Bye. So yeah, she kind of nervously brushes her hair behind her ear again, and then after kind of looking back and forth a couple of times as if not entirely sure exactly where she was, she kind of makes an awkward face and then picks a direction and walks off. Yeah, you head into the bathroom. It does smell nice. She uses very nice shampoo.
Oh,
All right. So anybody else have plans as they're settling in? Anything they want to kind of point out.
I'm only feigning to be tired. I'm anxious to get back into futuristic hollow battlefield number 26.
There you go. It's Guns, Guns, Guns VR.
There we are, but it's hollow, like
Yeah.
holodeck.
Yeah, see what you do is you actually open up Sparky and you get inside of him, and then he's like this full immersion VR system on top of being a killer robot.
So he's a killer robot and he's a killer robot.
There you go. Either that or this being the future, you may just plug a USB stick into the back of your head and then just like your eyes roll up into the back and you have the same experience. We're probably
I
gonna
like
go
the
with
idea
that.
of climbing inside of Sparky, though.
Okay, I'll give you that one, especially since that does actually have some interesting things you could probably come up with to do with it. All right, so you're settled in for your nightly experience of violence and soft pornography.
Teabag! Teabag! My father figure just hears me from the other room, like really muffled. Teabag! Teabag!
What about you, Braun? You've settled into your room and unpacked your very few and Spartan belongings into a. What would you unpack, or would you keep everything bundled up in your backpack?
Nope, everything's packed and ready to go at all times, and I'm
All right.
already asleep.
Yeah. You as you were getting ready for sleeping, you took off your shirt, and the camera pans over your back, which is highly muscled, but also crisscrossed with many scars that are winding and pitted across it. You take a pair of bullets out of your pocket and kind of shuffle them around for a couple of seconds before you put them back and continue to settle down.
And then I roll over and burp, and I'm asleep.
Burp from both ends.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
You just trained yourself to release gas so that it puts you to sleep instantly.
There you go. It's so strong it just knocks him out.
Yep.
All right. So yeah, you guys, the night passes fairly uneventfully. But you guys wake up. Are any of you especially early risers?
I mean, Kima probably is.
I probably played video games until like 3 o'clock in the morning and then passed out. So I'm like half dressed, halfway on the bed, snoring loudly.
Yep. Uh, Sparky is kind of sitting there, actually holding you just up enough that you're not sliding off of the bed. So that's the only reason you didn't make your way to the floor. What about Braun?
Teabag!
I'm frustrated to be awake, but ready to go.
Okay. So Kima, you've
And noticeably irritated that Wreckage is not ready to go.
so are you in Wreckage's room right now, rousting him?
I just knocked on his door a bunch.
Okay. So, Kima, you've been up for a bit, and you come out. Tabitha is already up and has been about for you don't even know how long. Um, but you have a few
The
minutes.
woman never sleeps.
But yeah, you have a few minutes if you want to do anything before Braun gets up and starts banging on Wreckage's door.
I don't know. I probably just read a book about something or play with pot plants. I don't know.
Okay. So yeah, Braun, you are currently banging on Wreckage's door.
Sorry, I lost you there.
Oh, I said that you are
Yeah.
currently banging on Wreckage's door.
Wreck, let's go.
5 more minutes.
No. 0 more minutes.
I love it. 0 more minutes.
30 seconds.
You got it.
30 seconds.
I think I can finish that fast.
Womp womp.
Getting dressed. Getting dressed.
Alrighty. So you
All
guys,
right. So, Sparky was holding me in the bed, right?
yes, he was holding you up so that
Okay.
you didn't slide off the bed.
Yeah. Okay. So, I come out fully dressed, except that my underwear is on Sparky's head.
And Sparky just comes out and says, "Look, everyone, it is I, Captain Underpants."
Oh no.
I rip my underwear off of his head.
You cut off after ripping the underwear off his head.
I rip the underwear off of his head, kind of blush, and throw my heart-covered underwear back into the room.
Ah, I was enjoying being Captain Underpants.
Save that for private. Anyway, what are we doing today? Are we going to the dome?
That's the plan.
Okay.
Do you think we'll get to shoot more things?
Here's hoping.
Womp womp womp. Alright, so you guys do have breakfast. The elf doesn't seem to come out. Or I guess you know her name, so I can actually use it now. Lynn doesn't seem to come out by the time you guys are more or less done with breakfast, but you did see the security droid outside of one of the doors in the hallway, so you actually do know where she seems to be at. And yeah, it's another overly hearty breakfast. There's bacon and eggs and bran muffins and oatmeal with brown sugar and apples chopped up in it, and fruit salad and etc. Um, so you guys are definitely not lacking in nutrition as you guys head out.
I
And
already feel 5 pounds heavier.
yeah, so you guys head out. You're currently kind of in. Let me pull up Absalom Station for you guys again. So there it is. That's the diagram of Absalom Station. So you guys are currently on one of the spokes of the station, kind of like 3/4 of the way in one of the spokes, which act as the main docking areas and also kind of economic hubs of Absalom Station. So you guys can begin to make your way in toward the dome, which you can see in the center top of the station. And several of the buildings actually extend past the dome, but there's a very large area underneath it. Anything in particular you're wanting to check out on your way there?
Female rat folk.
Bah, bah, bah. So Wreckage manages to get slapped like twice for staring at other Isoki hindquarters.
Did you see the tail on that one though? Woo!
But yeah, so you guys make your way there. As you get into the dome, you can feel the atmosphere quite literally and figuratively changing around you. Um, Inside the station, it's not exactly claustrophobic, but everything does feel contained and slightly used. As you make your way into the dome, everything begins to lift, and you can feel the air around you as if it's getting lighter and fresher, and there's a little bit more movement to it, and everything opens up immediately as you're walking the streets, and you can see directly through the transparent dome into space, glittering beyond you. Stars and nebula, and you can actually see a bit of the main sun of the Galorian system. And you go along. This area is very well kept and clean, and you can see various individuals bustling along on their different objectives, and huge skyscrapers are interspersed with palatial mansions and fancy hotels and all that sort of scenery. And as you go along, there are even several areas stretching across multiple acres that are dedicated green parks where plant life is blooming in profusion. Where in the dome are you headed?
Cue heroic
Everywhere.
space theme as we look around in awe. We are where?
The dome, the top of the station.
Let's go talk to the Pathfinders, see if we can tell them about what happened to Dorvor, and get going.
All right. So you guys arrive. It's a fairly easy search on one of your personal computing devices to just have Space Google Maps take you to their headquarters. And you arrive. It is a large, very impressive building in kind of an interesting mixture of a neoclassical style interspersed with very futuristic, almost alien sort of architecture. And you enter into the main atrium. And you can see there are a series of info kiosks and desks kind of in the main atrium, and people seem to be lining up behind them to speak to one of the people so that they can get information or directions or make a report or whatever else it is they are doing.
Well, I guess we better go get in line.
All right. So you get in line in what seems to be the one moving the most quickly. And it does take a good 15-20 minutes, but eventually you are at the front of it. There seems the lady behind the desk is a black-haired human with red stripes going through her hair, and she seems to be chewing quite loudly on a large stick of bubblegum, which she will blow a bubble in every few minutes, and she looks up at you without even moving her head, in an incredibly bored voice says, "All right, what can I do for you? Next, next." Hello, can I help you?
We'd like a double cheeseburger on rye.
So
Uh-huh.
I
And I'd like $1
slapped him
million.
in the head.
I don't actually know who we're going to see.
We're
Yeah, you do.
supposed to
You all
see
know.
Chisk Kisk. Chisk Kisk. Chisk Chisk? Something like
Chiskisk.
that.
Chiskisk.
Just kiss.
Yes, I am sure that's how you pronounce it. So she says, "All right, one moment." So she flips through a few files on her computer and then hands you a small device and says, "This will lead you to his office. Have a nice day." So it's a small round device and it has a large red button on it that says "Press me."
I got red button and I have no idea what else you said.
The button says "Press me."
I am so going to press that button.
All right, you press the button, and immediately four little legs and four little quadcopter propellers pop out of the sides of the vehicle. And in a energetic robotic voice, it says, "Follow me. I will take you to insert person name here." Um, All right, and it kind of buzzes off toward an area where you see a series of elevator shafts.
Noise.
All right, so following it to the elevators, it leads you to one and says, "All right, going up." And the elevator begins to rise. The shafts are all made of some sort of transparent material. Um, So you can see the enormous atrium spreading out below you as you make your ascent. Eventually, you do reach an area where it seems to be solid, but you can see into various entryways to different floors, and you are going up and up and up to what is a couple of hundred stories from the bottom. And once you've reached what is an incredibly dizzying height, you can see out the other side of the elevator that you've actually reached a section of the building which is extending out above the dome, and you are now surrounded by the cold vacuum of space. And
Does it have those windows where you can lean and it looks like you're hovering in the midair?
no, it's fairly the sides of the elevator keep you fairly within the size of the floor, if that makes sense.
Okay, cool.
Um, but yeah, you actually notice as you're going up that the elevator makes various changes to other shafts on the way up. It doesn't actually make a continuous ascent. Um, but you eventually do reach your destination floor, and the uh, elevator, which was going at quite a dizzying pace for parts of it, because it slowly accelerated at the bottom and slowly decelerated at the top, so it was a smooth ride, but quite fast. It comes to a stop, and the doors slide open with the characteristic ding, and you guys are led out into a floor of the Lore Spire complex. And you find yourselves on an area of the station which is just filled with various knickknacks and oddities from different planets. There's holographic artwork and different devices and artifacts of all different descriptions, and you make your way further back into the area before finally arriving at a door which has the name that you on it that you would expect, Chiskisk. Um, And the robot stops and says, "This is your destination. Have a nice day. I will be here to guide you out on your return."
Thank you, little robot. I knock on the door.
All right. So you knock on the door, and as you do, you hear a voice in your head, which says, "Please do come in."
So, since I'm semi-telepathic, I probably don't think anything particularly weird about that.
No, to you that's perfectly normal. I don't know how much you use that on your friends, so it might be a little bit odd for Wreckage and Braun. But for you, that's actually completely normal. Most Lashunta, in fact, see speaking with your mouth parts as being a little bit barbaric.
Well,
How
I
much
mean,
have you
my
used
friends
that?
are pretty barbaric, so I probably don't talk telepathically to them very often, but I am going to go in the door.
All right, so you open the door. It seems to be a relatively Spartan and well organized office. I have a better background for this. Let's do this. Good enough. Let's see. You guys. But yeah, so you arrive in there and are greeted by. Unfortunately, his picture is probably way back in the history now because it's been some time.
Thomas is breaking up a lot on my end. Like, I miss probably 2/3 of what is said.
Okay, let me adjust. It might just be Discord cutting my voice off a little bit too religiously. Here, we'll see if that's any better.
Well,
But
when
yeah,
you said, let's see if that's any better, I heard it all, so.
yeah. So we'll see. Just let me know if I start breaking up a lot again. And see, this is the problem with rebooting the game. Is all of this stuff is buried. Yeah, almost time. There we go. Bam. That guy. So you're greeted by Chiskisk, who is a Sheeran, which is one of the insectoid races of the Pact Worlds. And he says, "Welcome. You must be the new Starfinder members that I was expecting. I haven't heard from." He looks kind of at the door as you enter expectantly and says, "I haven't heard at all from." And now I've gone blank on his name.
Dorbor
Yeesh.
Creel.
Yay! I haven't heard at all from Dorvor Creel. I hope everything is alright.
I think it's funny that Dorvor's name is the only name you get mixed up, and it's like the only name I can remember.
In my
So,
defense, this is the first game that I've actually had any problems with his name. I've been real good on it up until now.
this is true. Anyway, Kima kind of elbows Braun and is like, "You tell him."
Unfortunately, when we were arriving, there was a gang fight, and Dwarvor lost his life in the crossfire.
Oh. Well, I'm sorry that I cannot welcome you to Absalom Station under better circumstances. I assure you that such attacks are not a daily occurrence, though I realize that is likely small comfort to you. I'm pleased that none of you were seriously hurt, but I grieve for Dwarvor's death. He was a valued member of the society and a friend. May the Lady of Graves be kind in her judgment of his souls. Of his soul. Soul singular. He doesn't have multiples. The Shirin then bows their head momentarily and then looks up, their compound eyes glittering. What puzzles me is the reason behind the attack. Chiskus taps a few commands into their computer. According to the incident report that I see was actually just released by station security, two gangs were involved in the attack. The Downside Kings and the Level 21 crew. Gang wars are not uncommon on the station, but they usually confine themselves to the more lawless sectors, like the puddles. Hint, hint, being eaten at the puddles. Just saying. It is rare for street gangs to battle openly in public areas like the docks. I cannot help but wonder whether all is as it seems. There must be a reason why those two gangs were at Docking Bay 94 at the same time, the time of your arrival, coincidentally. But I have trouble imagining it actually was coincidence. Were you and Dwarvor just innocent bystanders caught in the crossfire, or might you have been specifically targeted, and if so, why? I hope this doesn't have anything to do with our other business, but we'll discuss that later. My
Who
understanding
else could
is...
have known about our arrival?
That's a very good question. Well, my understanding is that you are interested in becoming Starfinders, or at least were. I hope that hasn't changed. And since you were witnesses to the attack, I would like you to investigate the incident on behalf of the Society. Find out exactly what happened and why. It may simply be a matter of being at the wrong place at the wrong time. I have no doubt that station security will rule it so, but if Dwarvor was murdered, I would like to find justice for my friend. At the same time, this will give you the perfect opportunity to demonstrate your own skills and abilities and show the society that you are worthy of the title Starfinders.
We accept your quest.
Very good. Unfortunately, there's not too much more information I can give you about the attack beyond the names of the two groups involved. But I can try to answer any questions that you have. If you need any help with finding lodging or whatnot, I can also give you some recommendations there. And of course, I don't expect you to be doing this for free. So let us say I will give you each 200 credits as a signing bonus plus expenses. And I will give you another 200 credits at the completion of your mission.
Sounds fair.
Money!
Money. So he taps a few things out on his device again, and you guys all get that automatically transferred to your accounts. So your devices vibrate or beep or whatever you have them set up to do to let you know that something has happened as the funds are deposited. As for our other business, I suppose there's really not too much to discuss until you've completed your current mission. Though I am very excited to bring you on board should you prove yourselves capable. And I do hope this isn't too much of a sore point, but I am aware of the outcome of your last foray, shall we say, and well, let's not see a repeat of that.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I don't know either.
Of course not. But let's just say I will be watching closely, and I hope to see you redeem yourselves. I am a big fan. Yeah. Anyway, is there anything I can help you with? Information that you need? Pointers that I can give you to send you in the right direction?
How common are security droids around here?
It depends on where on the station you are. Obviously, up in the docks, security is actually fairly thick, considering they need to keep new arrivals under control and make sure things don't get too out of hand. There are other areas of the station, such as the downside and the puddles, and others where there much more few and far between, and they're unlikely to come investigating short of some catastrophic event or one that threatens the stability of the station overall. I wouldn't suggest going around and setting up detonation charges on the external structure of the station. And he kind of gives like a weird alien chuckle where it's like a chitter more with his mandibles.
I hide the bomb I was playing with behind my back.
Bum, bum, bum.
Where would a young aspiring engineer go to? Well, I guess more accurately, what resources does the society have for a young aspiring engineer?
Oh, quite a few, especially given that someone in that position is largely going to be in need of knowledge and information, and that is one of the leading purposes of the Starfinder Society, to go out and discover all there is to know in the universe and examine alien technologies. As far as materials, there are a few that can be provided, but for the most part, you will be in charge of acquiring your own, though, of course, financial support is provided as a recompense for your work for the station for the Starfinders. For the most part, though, unless you're looking at a very unusual material, the majority of what you're going to need, I'm sure you already know, is going to be PCB or B, uh, BPUs. Yeah, base polymer units. Pretty sure that's what they're called. Which are used in the manufacture of all kinds of goods at replicators. So those are fairly easily traded for credits. Wouldn't be too hard to get a hold of them.
Well, thank you. That's exciting. Sweet. So, where do you suggest we go from here?
UPBs. I got a couple of the words backwards. UPBs, Universal Polymer Base. They're little white beads, and they're tied 1-to-1 in value with a credit, and they are used to manufacture pretty much everything. So anyway, sorry about that to interrupt you. What was your last question?
Where do you suggest we go from here, or do you have any suggestions?
Well, I suppose there are a few things you could look into. You could look into Durvor Creel himself. I can give you some information about him. He was one of our mid-ranking operatives at the Society. Most of his work focused on mineral prospecting, but he also took an interest in mentoring new prospective members of the Society. He actually volunteered to come meet with you and help bring you on board. Uh, Beyond that, um, I know he was originally from the Diaspora, which are a series of asteroids that form a belt in our home system here, and many other miners and other groups make that area home. Um, and what else? He was known to actually have ties to some of the dwarves and other mining groups in the region. You might be able to find some that he was kind of in with. I don't know specifically which ones, but if you could find which mining groups he was involved with, that could be a lead. As far as the level 21 crew and the Downside Kings, you could go visit the Downside and um, ask around, though I would suggest caution. You don't want necessarily to get on their wrong side or to alert them that you're poking around into their business, but you may be able to find a bit more about those two and what it is they were up to.
All right.
Braun,
Well,
that
thanks for
sounds
your
like
help.
the dwarf lead sounds like something you might want to look into. You know, mining and whatnot.
Oh, that's racist!
Well, that one seems a little bit more obscure. I think we should go check out the Downside and see what these gangs might have had to do with Dwarvor or us.
Alright, well, please do keep me updated. I wouldn't want you to disappear off the station, so good luck and be careful.
Could we have a direct contact with you so we don't have to go through that line again? It was boring.
Oh, yes, of course. You can always come up here to my office. I'm in most business hours and usually a bit late as well. And he kind of swipes toward you on his device. There is my direct contact number if you need to get a hold of me.
Sweet.
This, those lines can get quite long. Hopefully you didn't get Karen.
Is Karen the humanoid with the red striped hair?
No, she's the slug alien with the 12 eyes.
Oh no, we didn't get her.
Well, you're lucky.
I
Those
heard her in the distance saying, Mike Wazowski.
that sounds like her. All right, well, keep me abreast of your progress. I hope to hear good news soon.
Awkward silence.
Hey, you guys are the ones doing the awkward silence.
I know.
I was actually thinking of wrapping up kind of soon. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I think this is a good time because we've been going about an hour and 20 minutes, and I don't know that there's too much that's interesting that you guys would get done in 10 minutes here.
Yeah.
So, unless there is anything you want to establish real quickly, we'll just assume that you guys make your way without incident out back in front of the station, or not the station, the Lore Spire complex, and get ready to head down to the Downside.
Sweet.
Right. Well, let's wrap up. Thanks everyone for joining me. Let's do what we usually do, and let's start with Braun this time. What has Braun learned?
I learned that, I don't know, there's really big buildings.
Yes, these buildings are definitely impressively large, though I'm sure not anything compared to some of the capital ships that Braun would most likely have visited. The dwarves actually largely don't live on any of the planets in the system. They travel about through space in these enormous capital ships. which are fortress cities unto themselves as they explore and mine resources. So let's do Wreckage next. What has he learned? Hello?
Hello? Oh, sorry. I was pushing the wrong button on press to talk.
Nice. Alright, what has Wreckage learned?
I learned that there are these really cool elevators on the buildings, and I want to build one.
There you go.
But I want to make it go faster, and I want to make people hurl.
Sounds like you need to work for Disney designing some of their theme park attractions. Alright, and what has Kima learned?
I learned right at the end of the session that I forgot to play my character the right way because I took notes on how I was supposed to play my character and I did it.
Blah, blah, blah. Well, next time. Alright, well, I'm glad that everyone was able to make it for our game, and I will see you all next time. Bye!
Bye!
Bye.